Not promote or promotion any illegal activities. All content provided by this channel is meant only for educational purpose only.
Best games all year.
No, it was great. We actually practiced. It's federal. Switchy Frank. Let's go. Come take a ride through my city life.
You know, it's going to be, you're in a home now. It's going to be hard to dig out of that hole. You know,
share the stream, everybody.
See the lights of them city buildings. Ain't got to act hard. Private's my backyard. I run road out. You can call me a track star. But we a team, homie.
Back
goal is one.
another
I don't
week
sleep
with big ol' Uncle Felix handling it.
Please don't call me Mr. 401. It's Mr. Rags, you can call me. I'm still in that 401.
Yeah.
From where we was, look at all the come. For what it's worth, I put my all in the sun. Know that my city love it. Think I give about my city's budget, about my city's public. Know how my city does
West Elwood Intruders. There's a lot of guys that deserve opportunities, but for some reason the city is fumbling. They're fumbling. They're really fumbling. I mean, we can get into it, Mike. You know the story. I was at Juanita Sanchez. I was at Juanita Sanchez.
City's fumbling.
You know, Coach Dino Campopiano, and his staff over at Shea.
If you come out freshman year, man, I tell my nephew, like, you know, we're building that foundation 7th, 8th grade, and we're on record in 9th grade. You know what I mean?
That's right. You on record in 9th grade. What's going on? We here with Uncle Felix, man. Big dog in the house. Feeling good this week, man. Playoff football, but I had to be reminded, if you can't make it, come on, these people. I had to be reminded that the regular season's still another week left in Division 4. I tried to give Walter Stanton's kids some flowers, you know, like, you're the best running back right now in Division 4. And he wanted to remind me that there's still another week left of the regular season.
Yep, they still got another week of grinding.
Another week to grind, another week of football. We got a lot of consolation games. Some people, I guess consolation games is that the right way to say it? Would it be if you don't make the playoffs, it's called a consolation game.
Yep.
Like Coventry and Pilgrim have a game this week. Yep. You know, some people call it the first losers game. Some people call it consolation game. But shout out to my guy Blake over there, Gary Goodhart. 2 guys I thought would have been in the playoffs. They will not be in the playoffs this season. You know, have we in recent years, have we had a season where we didn't have Pilgrim in the last couple of years? They've pretty much been involved in every playoffs since Blake's been, I think, except for the COVID season. But other than that, they've been involved in every playoffs.
I believe so. He's been, you know, they've had a nice little run there.
At least under the Blake era. The Blizzy Blake era. You know, I gotta say, I started putting up the stats today, Felix, because this basically is the cutoff for the regular season, and I wanted to see where kids, you know, for the regular season, and then see what they do for the playoffs. So, I put a lot of stats up today for Max Preps, the top quarterbacks, the top wide receivers. Not surprised to see Marcus Chung, you know, overall yards. I think he came in right behind Lance Williams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not surprised at all to see some of the kids that we've seen in the top of these divisions, Felix.
Yeah, no, and a lot of these kids that you've seen at the top now were actually, you know, in the mix last year. You know what I mean? So it's not like they came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like Marcus Chung's name was well known. Lance Williams' name was well known. You know what I mean? So not too many surprises at the top.
Yeah, and also I remember a couple of years ago, you have coaches that put out these type of stats, and now you're gonna see all these teams hurrying up to get their stats out because they're gonna be like, all right, well, this kid has 500, so for my kid to get All-State, I got to come up with 700 yards.
It's funny because, again, more and more, I'm getting kids, asking me, how come they're not on the my top 3 list and this and that? Oh, how come this kid's not on there? He did this, and I replied to one kid this week, and I told him, I go, well, tell his coach to put his stats up on Max Preps. Why is he keeping it a secret? You know what I mean?
That's right. Blame your darn coach. I got a message from a player's parent, and I'm gonna read it. And he's right. It's not fair to his son because his school or his coach will not post stats. And it says, good evening. If my son's coach or the school does not enter my son's stats on Max Preps as a student and a parent, could we get his highlights from Huddle and get his stats together so he can be recognized? He's a senior at Tollgate High School, and his stats will put him inside the top 5 for many areas in the state, not just for his division. Touchdown, receiving yard, catches, return yards, passes defended, and all-purpose yards. Not to mention the tackles. And I said, if you do all the work to get the stats, we will recognize that kid if you're going to go through all that work. But it's a shame that his coach.
It is. And that's parents need to put pressure on these coaches. Go to the school, talk to the AD, talk to the principal, whoever, because there is no reason why why coaches are not putting the stats up. I heard, and I'm not going to call out the coach on this one, right? But I heard a kid told me one time, I was talking to him, and he was asking me about my Rhode Island ranked page, how he loves it, and he always wanted to send me videos, but that his coach wouldn't allow him to. And I said, why wouldn't he? He's like, oh, he didn't want our plays out there. And I go, that is, and I told the kid, I go, that is such a lame excuse. Everybody knows coaches share film now, you know what I mean? And this and that, and how terrible of a coach are you that you're scared to put out plays that you're running, to advertise your kid or, get them some recognition. It's pathetic. There's no good reason to not have their stats up there.
I don't want the plays out there. It's on every social media page. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's so many streaming platforms. Fans only got so many games going.
Yeah, exactly.
Cut it out.
Is he going to call Channel 12 or Channel 6 and tell them, don't put up the highlights of my team? Like, that's ridiculous.
But it just shows you where some of these coaches, it's about.
Well, honestly, I'm going to be honest. A lot of it's pure laziness because you know what? It's a pain in the ass to do. It really is. You sit there, you take down all the stats. It could take you a good hour or so, but put the time, invest in these kids, get them some recognition that they need.
Absolutely. Give these kids some recognition. Like they are working hard. And people wonder, this is how we find out the top 100 players in the nation.
Yes,
this is how they judge you. So if you don't want to put the stats up, if it's about your legacy, coach, and, only about you, coach, I understand why you don't want to put the kids' stats up there. It ain't about the kids. I need all the limelight. Because that's what you're saying by not putting the stats up there.
Yeah, totally agree. Like I said, there's no good excuse, none.
Put the stats up, because there's definitely no excuse not to have these stats up. Something I did want to mention, unless you've been under a rock and you don't know who the Migos is, Takeoff from the Migos was shot and killed this week, from another senseless killing in hip hop. And I just bring that up to say, Deion Sanders kind of mentioned it a little bit. Like, you have to change your address. You have to change your zip code, as you progress in life. And if you start to mature, you have to get away from the places and the people that you were once around. And I had to do it too growing up in Providence. I had to get away from that, that way of life, or I knew where that life was going to take me. And if these kids don't change, and you still
Yeah,
go around them
it's
type of areas, this is what's going to happen. But rest in peace to Takeoff.
it's sad because especially when you hear about these rappers, um, they getting killed when they go back to their to their neighborhoods and stuff like that, and we could talk an hour about this, but hip hop has a culture problem, and it needs to be addressed. A lot of it, me and you talked about is the fatherless homes and things like that. A lot of it is glamorizing these, this way of life, and there's just so many wrong. I mean, like I said, we could talk about it for hours, but yeah, rest in peace to Takeoff. From what I understand, it was actually from Friendly Fire.
That's what they're saying. They're saying that from Migos bands.
Yeah.
And I ain't right. And this is it looks like DJ Academics and the internet does their own investigations now. So just by that video, yeah, it looks like it was Friendly Fire, but now Migos is disputing that.
But
And I
the
think
whole
the autopsy report said he had a few different
the whole
caliber
thing though,
bullets in him. So
you shouldn't be putting yourself in those situations. Is the point? My father used to always tell me. He used to always say, "You hang around with 9 broke people, one day you're gonna be number 10."
that's why I say change your addy, change your address. You have to change. And even like Deion Sanders was saying, as you get to that level, you have to one point stop going around the people that you once went around. If you grow up in Southside and you make it out of Southside, then you make it out of Southside. Maybe you can come back once in a while and do what you can for your
Yeah,
community, but
it's just you got to escape that mentality. Look what happened to Nipsey Hussle. You know what I mean? The guy stayed in his neighborhood there, trying to be good or make a good situation, and then it bit him right in the ass.
another big story I wanted to talk about, Michigan. What the hell went on in Michigan, bro?
That's terrible. It's gonna be interesting to see how they handle that. I saw the video there where it looked like the whole Spartan team was just ganging up on one one kid.
Yo, you know what? Someone said, "Oh, you're a little excessive." I said, "Pull all their scholarships. Everyone that swung a helmet, take their friggin' scholarships, send them back to Burger King.
That'll teach them.
Take their friggin', it ain't like it was a little prank. You were hitting kids with a helmet, like kill somebody like that."
Yeah, I mean, there's enough video footage where you could probably pin down definitely a few kids, and they
Oh,
should.
absolutely, absolutely. Look, you can
Um,
the way the internet goes now, absolutely. Let me see if I think I could find the video, but high school football, Felix, playoffs, Division 4. We still have another week. This is the final week for Division 4, but it's definitely getting very, very interesting. Coach's Pick'em's been going great. Everything. It's just been an exciting season, Felix. Talk about it.
no, it's been great. Here we are, week 8. The season started. Some teams started off slow off the gate, and picked up steam. Some teams started off fast, and now we're struggling. And that's why you got to remind everybody it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know what I mean? So you can come off the gate slow, pick up momentum, and get better, or you can come off straight, but fast, but then you got to keep it up. Perfect examples would be Portsmouth. I think Portsmouth had a loss early in the season, and people were like, "Oh, I'm not so sure about Portsmouth," but they've been one of the best teams in the state ever since. And same thing with Central. Central started off hot, and now coming down the stretch, they stumbled. They lost to Westerly. Now they just lost to NK. You know what I mean? So it's not how you start. It's not how you. It's how you. It's the whole season. It's how you finish.
You don't have to win every game to make the playoffs, but you have to win every game to stay in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing this now. We live on Twitter. We live on YouTube. Facebook. We're gonna have to get the Instagram going soon. I think I got to get OSR Studios or OSB, but we'll have that soon. So definitely share the stream. Felix, I think last week I cut you off a little early. I don't even think we got to the defensive players. So I apologize for that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think I had to go get my son, but we're gonna jump over to the gram right now, and we're gonna get to Rhode Island ranked. But what is up with this UMass Dartmouth team? As I'm looking this up, Felix, are they playing like great football or what?
They are. I mean, they've won, I believe, 7 in a row now.
Yes, yeah, they lost to Anna Marie, and I think that was just a game that they slept on, like Mount Hope last week in West Warwick. West Warwick kids went into that game saying, "Oh, they're 2-5. That they only won 2 games."
Yeah,
and look what happened.
You can't sleep. You got to put in the work because every team is at practice all week. You know what I mean? So they're gonna show up. They're gonna play. You can't take anybody for granted. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why. Hats off to Coach Croft and Bishop Hendricken over there. They haven't lost a game in the state since I think 2016 or 17, something like that. And they get everybody's A game. You can't sleep on anybody at any time.
I mean, listen, man, is that just telling you how shitty we are as a state overall in football?
What's that?
That Hendricken can go win 12 damn state championships.
If you look at it, for example, over in Nevada, Bishop Gorman, one of the best teams in the country. They, I believe, are at like 13 or 14 straight championships. You know what I mean? So if you go through every state, you'll find teams that have a dominant team. That's just how it is.
Yeah, because I think Rhode Island is probably in the bottom of the pecking order for high school football. We have to be at the bottom. We're damn close to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, just the sheer size. Just like we talk about the sizes of schools, determine on how good the teams are. Same thing with the state. It's just a small area. That being said, though, Bishop Hendrickens and LaSalle, they do their thing when they play out of state. LaSalle knocked off Curtis in New York, which was a top 20 team. Hendricken knocked off, 2-time defending champs up in New Hampshire. They both got their asses handed to them by Catholic Memorial, but you know what? Catholic Memorial is probably the best team in not only New England, but maybe in the region. So that there's no shame in that.
All right, give me 1 second, Felix. Hold on. All right, so we're gonna cut into the Instagram. We're gonna get that right up here. You could hear me, right? We're here with Uncle Felix, and we're gonna let him take it over for 1 minute. Let me get this up here on the page.
And what's that? This is the top quarterbacks, it looks like?
Yes, this is going to be we'll start off with the top quarterbacks.
I actually made a boo-boo on this one, and the coach caught it and inboxed me, and luckily he did, and I corrected it. But anyways, so this week here, my top 3 quarterbacks, I went with Bishop Hendrickens, Jaden Falcone. He's actually been struggling as of late, but broke out with a big game against East Providence. Threw, I believe, for almost 200 yards and 3 touchdown passes, and also ran very well as he usually does. Number 2, I went with Lance Williams, who had that big victory there for Westerly over SK. That's a game I think that surprised everybody. I picked Westerly to win, but I don't think anybody had them winning by that big of a margin. Kudos to Dunbar and what he's doing over there. Those boys are ready to play. And rounding up number 3, no stranger to the list, Dean, who threw for over 200 yards, 4 touchdown passes, and LaSalle was all over Shea High School, and they routed them. Looked good.
All right, so now we're gonna get into the top running backs. I'm kind of multitasking, Felix, so
No
you can
worries.
handle this. Let me get up the top running backs. I see you had Lance Williams on that list too.
He was on the quarterbacks. Yep.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna get into the top running backs, week 8. Let me get it up here.
Here we go. Top running backs. We went with Brock Pacheco. Had a huge monster game against West Warwick. There, ran for over 200 yards as well as the Mount Hope Huskies went into West Warwick. Huge underdogs. With only 2 wins going against a West Warwick team that we all thought would have been very hungry after suffering their first loss to Moses Brown the week before. But Pacheco ran well. He ran hard, and the Moses Brown and Mount Hope may have exposed something about West Warwick there. They're having trouble stopping the run. So that's something, Coach Pennington's going to have to address there because, back-to-back weeks they've been ran all over on. And that's a no-no going into the playoffs, especially, they're playing Lincoln, and that's Lincoln's specialty. So, that's going to be a tall order now for West Warwick to fix that hole on defense. Number 2, I went with the guy with the coolest name in the state, Nick Bacala. he also had a huge game for Pontigansett, so he was an easy pick for the list. And number 3, I went with can't see the name there. Andrew, can't pronounce his last name. Kid from North Kingstown. He ran for $120, and North Kingstown had
Carnello, right? Andrew Carnello.
Yep, he had a big game as they knocked off Central to grab the number 3 seed. So that actually will give them the rematch with LaSalle at LaSalle, and obviously Central will rematch with Hendrick in there.
I got someone over here telling me Lance Williams is the top quarterback in football right now. We got a live studio right now. We got him live in the studio. 0, and I didn't even know Lance Williams had 0 interceptions. So congratulations to Lance Williams. We got the Lance Williams fan club over here today.
Nice, good for him.
That is pretty good though, not throwing a pick. Hell of an athlete.
Eddie Bueller, who I consider the best quarterback, he's only thrown 1 interception. But 0, that's obviously better. That's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm about to get jumped over here. All right, so we're gonna get into let's see, we're gonna get into the wide receivers week 8, and get your stats up there to Rhode Island ranked. Take it away, Felix.
Let's see the top receivers. All righty. So the top receivers were actually pretty easy this week. Number 1, I went with Devin Lynch. If you guys, that name sounds familiar, he's the brother of former quarterback David Lynch, who's playing now at IMG. Anyways, he had a big game, had over 100 yards, a couple of touchdown receptions there from obviously Mr. Falcone. Number 2, I went with Brady Fisher. He had a huge monster game against Shea. He also hauled in a couple of touchdown passes. And number 3, I went with Justin Murphy, who had a nice game for
okay.
Yep. Those were my top 3.
All right, so let's get up the definitely some great picks. Devin Lynch is a great football player. Brady Fisher is another kid who's been phenomenal, and say what you want about Pilgrim right now, but Pilgrim is a dangerous team anytime you face them.
Yeah, they're always a threat. You know what I mean? They have their offense is usually a threat. I mean, this week they didn't play well on offense, but that's a team you can't sleep on. That's for sure.
And then your top defenders, Felix.
My top defenders, AJ Hitu from Smithfield had a monster game, 4 interceptions, I believe. Returned 1 for a touchdown. And Smithfield won big. Number 2, defensive guy, no stranger to the list. That's Rashawn Verlaine. He's a monster for Bishop Hendrick, and he was a bunch of tackles for loss, including a sack. And number 3 guy, another guy who's no stranger, that's Moses Muse. He also had a big game for St. Ray's as they rolled this week too.
Yeah, Felix, every week you have a great lineup of high school kids that are definitely well deserving of Rhode Island Ranked. And if you want to get your name added to Rhode Island Ranked, definitely hit up Rhode Island Ranked. Send them your stats. And if you're like the parent that sent me the message, get your stats into me, and we definitely will recognize the kids that are being we want to get all the kids' stats out there. And just because they have a crappy coach that don't want, and this is me saying it, not Felix, just because they have a shitty coach that don't want to go out of their way and put their stats up.
You could add me to that list, because those coaches need to be called out there. Again, there's no reason to not put their stats up.
That's a fact, man. Like, come on. All you're doing is hurting the kids. Like, we had a lot of colleges last season. I met recruiters that I now have really because of, they reach out to me, see the podcast. Or Gary Goodhart talks about he ran into 5 recruiters called him last season. Coach Fortin, when he was over at EWG, he reaches recruiters because of Max Preps. Like, how lazy are you not to put stats up on Max Preps? Now, it's a lot of work. I get it. It is.
And another funny thing is some coaches, they will start to put the stats up and then just stop.
And then they take them down. Like, we don't know Miles Craddock is a bomb running back. We don't know that.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, those stats are all gone now. And
we don't know my man Dean putting up 300 yards a game. We know that.
And they started putting his stats up, and then all of a sudden they just stopped. I mean, it's laziness, and they need to be called out on that.
I had Ryan McCormick on the other day from UMass Dartmouth, and one thing that I noticed, and we went into it a little bit, was that UMass Dartmouth plays freshmen. Not saying that every freshman that goes to UMass Dartmouth is going to get on the field, but I think UMass Dartmouth plays freshmen a lot more than other universities do. Would you agree?
I'm not familiar with how, with a lot of these programs. Speaking from experience when my son was there, I would say UMass Dartmouth is doing a better job this season playing their younger guys. Last year, I think they could have done a better job. But, I mean, they're running a great program, obviously. They're doing a lot of damage. But this year I've noticed because I do still follow them, I look up their stats and I see their box score there. They definitely have a lot more people getting in the game than they did last year.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot of people, and I think I just seen regionally UMass Dartmouth was ranked up there. Ryan McCormick was posting about it earlier today. Angel Sanchez, the top wide receiver based on stats in the country. Congratulations to him. He's definitely somebody that NFL teams are going to be looking at. Now, Angel. Tell us a little bit about him.
He's a great kid, hard worker. He's just different. I always called him. I used to always call him an assassin, because he's the type of player who can will you to victory. You know what I mean? He doesn't give up. He's tenacious. I have no complaints the way that kid plays. He was obviously older than my kids at Hendrick, and I used to always tell my kid, watch that kid, watch how he plays. He plays the game the right way, and you can see it. Like when he gets the ball in his hands, he's a threat to take it to the house at any time, and that's because of his tenacity.
Yeah, I can't hear enough about him.
It's no surprise to me when I see what he's doing at UMass Dartmouth. I know he was gonna tear that league up.
Yeah, he's definitely a great ball player, and I know not everybody over there at Hendricken agreed on Angel going to UMass, but I think it was a great fit. They know who I'm talking about. I think it was a great fit over there, and I think that he's doing well. He's doing very well.
Yes, he is. I mean, you can't look at the numbers. I mean, he's doing this thing, and hopefully, the next level is taking a look at him, or are taking notice, and they should, because obviously he's at the top of the chart. So
Sorry, my shit was muted. I just seen another Almost Friday. And every time I see this Almost Friday thing, it kind of burns me up, because I know Almost Friday is connected with an alcohol beverage company, and they actually own a trademark for Almost Friday. So every time I see it, I almost think that, are we promoting alcohol use? And I know we're not, right? But I can't get over it. I just can't get past it, because we lost 4 kids this year in Rhode Island high school from alcohol.
Really, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, we lost the girl that on New Year's Eve, down in East Greenwich. We had the kid from EWG just this last week. I think Wesley at Charahoe lost somebody.
Wow.
And there was another player throughout the year. So to even Almost Friday is copyrighted by Friday's Beer. It's a beer company. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching. But I just don't agree it should be used in connection with high school football at all.
Hmm.
I mean, that's just me. I mean, I'm just speaking from, I just don't agree on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a drinker at all, and but I have noticed, like you said, teams that use it on their thing. Almost Friday. I never made the connection to alcohol, but that's because I'm probably not paying attention.
I'm not a drinker either, but I noticed it on Instagram, and I kind of started looking into it, and somebody said, do you know that's copyrighted to an alcohol company? And I was like, so I look it up, and I was like, oh my God, it's actually trademarked. They use Almost Friday to advertise their beer.
Yeah.
So now and I kind of get the correlation, Fridays come in, everyone's all excited, but I don't know, it just kind of it burns me up.
Friday Night Football.
That's right. Friday Night Football is lit, man. Let's talk about some playoff games.
Yes, sir.
I got my guy over here, Najee Barrows, stopped in. We were going to get him on live. I wanted to talk to him some Bulldog stuff, but we're definitely going to chop it up with him real quick. I said, come by the house. I want to ask you some Bulldog stuff, because I think what Westerly is doing, and I don't know if we're going to be able to get Najee on tonight, but I think what Westerly is doing with the addition of Najee, I think he's a great line coach. And I know some people say, oh, there's the hype coach. And I want to correct that, because he's not the hype coach. That's just an added bonus that he puts into the game. And anybody that's seen the pregame, what Coach Barrows did over there, I think every program should have a coach like Najee. Like, ask any of the SK parents that went to the game last week. They said that's how you do it. Like, it was exciting atmosphere before the game even started.
Yeah, that's it's part of the reasons why Westerly is a tough place to win.
Oh, it definitely is the toughest home field advantage in the state. Charahoe, I gotta say, I seen a post about Charahoe that their youth program went to North Providence, and Charahoe actually stayed and helped clean up the entire facility, and they were kind of blown away by it. And that's because Westerly and Charahoe, I think they do well. They're from good programs. And that's what you should do. There's programs that cannot even find a chain crew, bro. Chain crew.
I remember those days coaching youth football and, listening to the refs yell into the stands. Anybody want to do this? Anybody?
Yeah, you can't even get a chain crew, and it's crazy because, like, I know Westerly Pee-wee, they'll feed you. And I talked to a couple other people. They said, yeah, we'll give them a hamburger, a hot dog, but do you not, like, is it that hard to get a chain crew for youth football games?
Yeah, it's tough to get volunteers, period, I guess. Nobody wants to be bothered, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, absolutely nobody wants to be bothered, man. Well, it ain't week 7, but it's week 9. Coaches pick 'em, Felix. you've been a good mover lately in the coaches pick 'em.
I told you I was gonna make my move. It's not how you start; it's how you finish.
You know, I think the last week you came in 8-2,
Yes,
which
sir.
was pretty good, and it catapulted you up to the top of the standings. And if I'm not mistaken, you're tied, I think, for let me get it up here. Let me see. Tied for second, I think. But what is your experience up to this point with the coaches pick 'em before we get into these playoff games?
I think it's great. It's obviously very competitive. I believe. I think last time I checked, I think 3 games separate. Um, first place from I think where I am. There's not too many games. It's pretty close, all the way around. There's not too many games that separate everybody. It's not like somebody's is running away with it completely. But it's fun, and it goes to show you too. Like 8-2, I think was my best week, but a lot of weeks of 7-4. I mean, 7-3, 6-4. Things like that. It goes to show you it's any Sunday. I mean, any Friday, right? Anybody can win. It's not as easy as it looks. Let's see. Nice. So I'm set with 3 games behind Goodhart. Yep, and only one game out of second. You're on mute again.
Goodhart's at 54-26. Which this was his worst week. He done 6-4. McCormick 6-4 at 52-28. Pennington is tied for second with McCormick, and then in third, you got 51-29 with a 3-way tie with Rhode Island ranked Stanley Dunbar and Michael Washington. And then it goes 50 and 30. It's very tight, and then you got Coach Simpson that just drops down the leaderboard. It's very tight up until you get to Coach Blake. You got Eddie Insco 49-31, and I didn't put this week's numbers in yet. Well, we can't because the games are still going on. But
Yep.
But I do have a lot of great games on Charahoe and Rogers. That's the first game, and I'll tell you, Charahoe has some great players. The Fitz, the Price kid, good football players. Rogers, a lot of people saying don't sleep on Rogers. Coach Newhouse took over. For Coach Newsom. How do you see that game going?
That should be a good one. I mean, Rogers has been playing tough, and I know the kids seem to have a chip on their shoulder because they're always letting me know when I don't pick any of their players. so I think they have something to prove. I believe I picked Rogers this week.
So the next game would be St. Ray's and Shea. The battle of the bucket. Watch out, St. Ray's. Watch out, Moses.
Yeah, when you have those intercity rivals like that, you got to be careful because there's a lot of pride on the line. So that game, Shea's not going to go down easily. That being said, though, I think St. Ray's has just too much firepower. And St. Ray's has something to prove. They went undefeated 2 years in a row, got to the Super Bowl, and just and laid an egg both times. So now they let's see if they can get there now. I mean, they have something to prove. This is Moses Mew's senior year, correct?
Yes, it is. And Coach Sassy, I'll tell you what, yes, back to back. Blew an egg back to back times. They should have won back to back Super Bowls. And you see, this is the first season that you usually see St. Ray's. As the season progresses, they start losing players. I haven't really paid attention because it wasn't as evident as it usually is. Like last year, I think after the Mount Pleasant game, you lost Moses Muse. You lost
Well, last year I believe, and this is my opinion only, but like I noticed, I think they were using Moses Muse too much. They were overusing that kid, and I think he might have got tired as the season went along. This year, we're not seeing him, scoring all the touchdowns and doing everything possible. So it's quite possible they learned from their mistakes, and they're pacing him. which is great because that
They
this
still use
now.
him quite a lot, I think. I
Yeah,
think they still use Moses
I think they
Muse.
still do, but not as much as they did last year. Like I'm not seeing the numbers. His numbers, I believe, are down compared to what they were last year. That doesn't mean he's playing worse, but I just don't think that they're counting on him as much. They actually had a young sophomore running back this week, Julian or Julius, something like that. He stepped up big time for them. Had well over 100 yards rushing, and got into the end zone. So for them to be successful, especially this time of year, they can't be one dimensional. They can't be all about Moses Muse. Obviously they got the receiver there, Ethan McCann, who's been a stud for them. And if that sophomore running back, if he can, build on the game he just had, the quarterback, obviously Daniel Wolf, he's dangerous too. They need to be a more balanced team if they're going to be dangerous in these playoffs.
All right, Felix, man. Some great games. West Warwick and Lincoln. Who you like over there?
See, I like West Warwick, but it's not an easy pick, and I'll tell you why. Because West Warwick, the last 2 games, they have stumbled, and they have stumbled big, and they have stumbled by letting up. They're getting ripped up on the ground right now, and they're playing a Lincoln team who's also a team who started off very hot, but faltered down the stretch. And their specialty is the run. Tyler Durang is a monster at fullback there for the Lincoln Lions, and West Warwick has to prove that they can stop the run because the last 2 weeks they have not proved that at all. They've been decimated by the running back and up the gut, so that's something they're gonna have to correct and correct it fast because Lincoln's gonna bring a rushing attack to the game.
Well, I think West Warwick, I think the problem they had, I think their kids slept on Mount Hope. I think they said, you know what, Mount Hope only won 2 games. Who are they? Who we don't even, let's put our feet up, let's relax. And West Warwick got smacked. And I hope Coach Pennington went in there this week, Monday, and was like, I told you guys. I told you, don't be sleeping on them.
I've coached with Coach Pennington for years, so I know he's not letting that slide, and I know he warned them about not sleeping on that team. So yeah, he's letting them have it, I'm sure.
And the next game, Middletown and Ponegantsit, which I'll say it first. I don't think Ponegantsit stands. I don't think they're going to hold up against Middletown. I won't say they don't stand a chance, but I just don't think. I just think Middletown is too tall of a team for Jimmy Cook.
Well,
that's a good one.
I'll say it for you. They don't stand a chance. Middletown will win that. They got good quarterback there, and De La Cruz. They got some weapons there. They should cruise to victory in that game.
And you watched. Ponegantsit, they came up to Division III. Yes, they made it into the playoffs, but they really had some. Did they really have a problem getting there? They North Smithfield. They had to go toe to toe with them. It took them the whole game to get over that hump. They played Johnston, maybe not in this order. They give West Warwick a run for their money. If you ask them, they said they should have won because of the inverted whistle, but that's another story.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah, exactly. But they are there. Mount Hope could have kept them out of there. They got there, so we'll see what happens. I don't think they're gonna get by Middletown.
I don't think so either, but kudos to them for making a tough run.
Yeah,
they and they're nothing to sneeze at. They have some great players there. I just think right now they're going against an opponent who's playing well. And I'll tell you, playing in Middletown in November it can't be any fun because it's got to be freezing over there.
Well, why? Because it's close to the water?
Oh yeah. I remember playing a game for FBU. We played a game in Middletown, and it was negative -5 degrees. And granted, it was December, you know what I mean? But it was freezing. And, them being near the water there, yeah, it's going to be cold.
But Phillies, it's really not that cold, though. Like, I'm near the water. Wesley's near the water. It's been beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this year it's been. You're right. The weather's it's been nice, but it's New England. It could change at any time.
Even our I was even checking the temperature in my koi pond, and it's still 60 degrees. And I was like, wow, the water temperature is still, because you got to stop feeding them below 50, I guess. You don't feed them for the rest of the year. But
Yep.
yeah, so but another place that's tough to play at home, and I've been saying it, Westerly Bulldogs, Saliguri Field, with standing room only last week for the SC. I mean it. Like, you couldn't even.
I love to see that when you look around the state and you see these games, especially when these news stations are covering them. It's beautiful to see that these places are all filled.
I mean, Coach, am I lying? I mean, standing room only over there. It was like, I think I made a joke that I had to go get the battery when it was like 14-0, and I was like, I turn around and it's 28-0. You know what I mean? And then I look at the scoreboard. I swear on everything. I look at the scoreboard, bro. It's 35-0. I was like,
yeah, I was shocked at that. Like I said, I picked Wesley to win that game, but it took me a little while. I was like, that's going to be a good game. Should be a good physical game. and Wesley, they just jumped on them and never looked back.
Dude, from the moment that whistle went, my man Hill grabs the ball, runs it back. It's actually my grandson's uncle.
Yeah.
Runs it back for a touchdown. And then the very next punt, the SK lets it hit on the 1, and they thought it was going to take a favorable bounce in the end zone. It hit like a rock. And all you seen was the grass go poof. And the kid looked and was like, oh, snap. He grabs the ball. He got a couple yards out of it, and then they got to punt the ball 3 and out. Westerly blocks it. Boom, they get a hand on it. They pick it up 14-0. And at that point, it was just too tough. You're battling a crowd. Like, Westerly has trouble getting the calls in. It's so loud. Coach Dunbar talked about it 2 weeks ago during the Central game. Because Mike Washington said, yo, that place was loud. I never experienced a crowd like that. How's Bishop's crowds? Are they?
Oh, it's great. Especially when it's a big game. I mean, it's packed. They pack the house. Nobody beats Mangate. You know what I mean? Mangate is awesome to be around. They're fun. They're loud. They let you have it. You know what I mean? It's great atmosphere there. I spoke to a kid actually at Springfield College who played for Catholic Memorial, and he was telling my son and I how the best place he played was actually at Hendricken, because we made it our homecoming game when Catholic Memorial came down, and he said the atmosphere was insane. Like, it really stood out to him. And they break out all the stuff. They had the climbing rocks out there, the food trucks, sometimes they have fireworks, during these big games. I mean, the atmosphere is just crazy. I mean, it's all about the school pride, the legacy, the brotherhood, all that stuff. It's just the tradition there. All these kids know that they're not playing for themselves. They're playing for the kids that went there, and basically for the legacy. It's just a different atmosphere.
And Keith Croft does an excellent job. Like, he's more than just a football coach. He organizes a great event.
He's a great manager. You know what I mean? He's a great manager. That's how I see him as. It takes a lot. Like, it's underestimated. You got a football team. Obviously, they're loaded with talent. Nobody has better horses than they do. So that means you have a lot of egos, and to manage those kids to all come together as one, and and to be not selfish. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these kids, they can go to other teams, or and dominate. But you go to Hendricken, you're never really going to see a kid dominate the stats at Hendricken, because they're usually a well balanced team. They don't do they really you'll never see them depend on one kid, and that's because obviously they have the talent to go around. That being said, though, that means you got to check your ego.
Check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
I mean, some other games that I think are going to be Portsmouth, East Providence this week. How do you think? Is it Portsmouth EP? I got to look. I just kind of shout out to Steve Clark over there.
I believe that
thing.
East Providence is one of those teams we talked about. They started off hot, and then they started stumbling down the end. Portsmouth was the other way around. Now here they are ready to meet each other. And, Portsmouth right now is playing very well. Off the top of my head, I'm going to say they're probably the team to beat in Division I right now.
What do you think about that Tolman Moses Brown game? Because, there's a lot of hype going on over this game. They're looking forward to each other, and I hope one team don't talk themselves into a smackdown.
I just think Moses Brown is too much. Miles Craddock is the real deal. I think they have too much firepower there at Moses Brown.
No, sure. My man Mark Gorman over there with the line coach, you know what? His line's going to eat him up.
We'll see.
Dave Valley better eat your Wheaties. Eat your Wheaties. You know what I'm saying? Nah, shout out to both them guys, two good line coaches in the state. I just wanted to bust their chops, get them going. Dave Valley was on the other day, and people were like, yo, I love his glasses. I never seen him in glasses before. And I was like, yo, what's up with the glasses, Dave? Shout out Dave Valley. I think hands down the best mic'd up segment this year for Channel 12.
Nice.
You know Dave?
No, the name sounds familiar, though.
He's been around. Where did he play? East Providence, I think he played back in the day. He played East Providence. He just actually put the pads back on. He was on the show a couple days ago.
Well, next time you talk to him, ask him if he played semi-pro back in the day, too, because I may have played with him. The name sounds familiar.
Well, his back in the day, he did play semi-pro, but I don't know how long his back in the day is. How old is Dave Valley? Here's a picture of Dave and his father. Let me get the... Give me 1 second. He's in his 30s, I think.
Then I'm older than him, so
yeah, mid-30s. Here it is. Here's his picture right here. This is Tim on the right side, and that's his father.
I must be thinking of somebody else.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna play this quick video, Felix. I gotta take care, son. Hold on. 1 second. Stand by. All right, we back. All right, let me get that down. Sorry, I just had to take care of something real quick. We back here with Uncle Felix in the house. We talking high school football. Playoffs are here. Let me get this picture down. I think now I got too much stuff in the archives. I definitely got to get some shit out of here. Gotta clean it up. What playoff games are you looking forward, Felix?
Definitely those two Division I games there with Hendricken and Central, and obviously LaSalle and NK. You know what I mean?
Do we get them games this week?
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
think so.
Is that next week? I haven't looked at the
Yeah,
schedule.
yeah. I think when I seen on the schedule, I did not see D1 games on the schedule, which it makes D1 even worse than I've been saying all year. Like, can I have some
They're gonna
continuity? Can I
make
see more than one game?
I guess it makes sense that they gotta wait because there's only gonna be one playoff game for them. You know what I mean?
Can I see more than one
and then they
D1
have
game on a 14-day period?
and then they have the championship. Yeah, we got to get these other teams here in the so-called Division 2 to pull up their pants and go play Division 1. So if they're not playing, the games I'm going to be looking forward to is that West Warwick Lincoln game. I want to see if West Warwick can bounce back. Are they going to fade away? Which would be a shame because that's a talented team.
You can't lose. West Warwick cannot lose.
Cannot lose. I want to see what Portsmouth can do because right now they're my favorite there to take Division 2. I know I said Division 1 earlier, but Division 2 is the new Division 1. And Division 3.
So why don't we do this? Listen, all they had to do was word semantics, right? Let's keep the Power 4. We get rid of Division 4, right? We make Division 4 Division 3 now. We just move everybody down. Division 3 becomes 2. 2 becomes 1, and we got a Power 4.
Yeah, I mean, they could have done it like they were doing, where they had the Power 4 inside the Division 1, you know what I mean, and do it that way. But, they're too busy trying to get everybody a trophy, in my opinion.
This was stupid to have 4-team Division 1. You could have kept your Power 4 and you would have moved everyone down. You would have still had the same amount of divisions, what you want. But no, I got to say, and people I think Coach Dunbar said, shout out to the Coaches Association. And he said the realignment wasn't that bad. And I said, no, it was ass. It was still ass. I said, but 50%. So, all right, 500. Division 2 and Division 3 was very good. Division 1, there was too long of a gap in between games.
Yeah.
And Division 4, for some reason, and respect to, Central Falls was balling out. EWG was fighting. They were keeping their head above water to get. It was very interesting, but it wasn't it. There was no draw to Division 4 this season. Nothing drew people to that division. And that's a shame because last year it was a very exciting division because it was very competitive. All the games was within a touchdown except for Pontiac, but that's my take on the realignment this year. 2 and 3 were very, very good.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I'm just not happy with a 4-team Division 1. That doesn't make any.
No, not at all. Not at all. And shout out to Steve Clark. He said November 11th, 11/11 D1 games.
Day after my birthday.
I was looking up. I'm curious to see. I wanted to officiating. How do they pick the Super Bowl officials?
Not sure.
Do you think it goes by the best crews, like the crews that were playing the best all season or been doing the best? Or do you think it probably just goes by the buddy system?
Yeah, who knows? Hopefully there's some kind of merit to it and not just, favoritism and all that stuff. Hopefully there's merit behind it, but I couldn't tell you. That's definitely an answer for your buddy Kilgore there.
Oh, speaking of Emerson, I realized he officiated 3 Hope High School games this year.
Oh boy.
And I talked to him today and I said, what game are you doing? Hope High School. I was like, and Emerson is an official that people request. Like guys they get happy when Emerson is there. And to see him not in a playoff game, I think is horrible. Shout out to my man JB and his beautiful baby girl. He just had a daughter not even a year ago. Congratulations to him and his missus. But Emerson is one of them referees, Felix, that people because they know you're going to get a good game, and he don't even have a playoff game this weekend. I think that's this is his 4th Hope High School game, and I mean it don't matter if it's Hendrick and a Hope, but you would think let's utilize the referees that have experience on the games that we are gonna need them.
Yeah, you know what? Shout out to it. They brought back freshman football, which I'm very happy about. And I think their Super Bowl is actually going to be November 9th.
Oh, see, yes, freshman Super Bowl.
Hendrick
Let's
and
do it.
Barrington, November 9th, 5 p.m.
Hey, Hendricken and Barrington, huh? Hey, see, Sandy Gormy's gonna get one. You know, we had Kurt Hines on, and Kurt Hines he played at Barrington. He graduated the class of 1990. A lot of people recognize Kurt Hines from his I think I did have a clip of Kurt. Oh, here he is.
What I mean by that is they say, Coach, put me where you need me. They never complain about playing time. They understand that competition breeds success, and that if they're going to be successful, if they're going to get playing time, they need to compete day in and day out. They also understand that sometimes their role on a team is not being a starter. It's being the best dang scout player the team has to help them get ready for Friday night. So if you don't like that Coach plays favorites, become one of his favorites.
I like that.
Yeah, Kurt Hines, he was actually voted high school's most influential football coach in America 2021. He has a TikTok page. He has some pretty, he went to Barrington High School, my point is, and graduated class of 1990, and he played under Sandy Gorm. And I said, was he running that same option? He said, oh, yeah. He said, oh, yeah. But
hey, they're having success with this, so why not?
So let's see. We talked about Middletown, Pontigansett, Charahoe, Rogers, Lincoln, West Warwick, Tolman, Moses Brown, D4 playing for seedings. I think Smithfield, what do they got? Davies this week. If they beat them, they're going to beat a 1. Davies will be the 3, and CF will be the 2. Congratulations to EWG for making the playoffs. I picked them not to make the playoffs this year. I'm going to eat crow, if that's what you say, So congratulations to the players over there. I knew you guys could do it. No, I really did pick, it is what it is. I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs. So congratulations to them kids over there. Congratulations to Tyler Stanton, the number 1 running back in Division 4. So congratulations to him. Yeah, I think we covered all the games that were all the playoff games anyway. Central and Hendricken. You want to wait till next week? You want to talk about it just real quick?
That should be a good one. I mean, obviously the first one went down to the wire, 14-12, came down to the last 2-point conversion of the game. Hendricken prevailed. So it should be a good one. This will be second time around. This time it'll be at Hendricken. We'll see if Hendricken makes any adjustment. Whoever makes the best adjustments is going to win that game.
Are we developing a little rivalry here? Like in the last 2 years, what was last year's? That was only a 4-point game, right?
14-8 was the game.
And this year was 2 points. So within
12.
Yes. Well, what do you think about Central and them not having a field goal kicker, or them not? When was the last time they went for an extra point? The SK game last season?
I'm not sure, but shame on them. You gotta somehow develop a kicker in that roster. I'm
going to get the thumbs up emoji with the middle finger, not the thumbs up. It's going to get Mike Roy. He's going to send me two black middle fingers.
They got enough athletes there. Well, I'm sure somebody can kick an extra point. Not to knock Mike Washington. Obviously, he's done a great job.
Hell yeah. That's my guy. Good people.
Well, I'm going to call a spade. So if shame on him for not having a kicker ready. And that, it shows in big games like that. In close games like that, that's going to kick you. That's going to bite you in your ass every time.
And I'll tell you what, I got to say, their quarterback, I think, is getting a valuable education on the football field this season. I think he learned a lot I think he got some growing pains this year, and and it was a good time to get him out. That play against Hendricken. Yeah, it's a lot for a 16-year-old kid to endure. You know what I mean? Making them split-second decisions, and
Yeah.
you learn by doing.
Avani's a tough kid. He was obviously at Bishop Hendricken for his freshman and sophomore year. He came right after when the state decided to do away with freshman football, which was a tragedy in my opinion. So he didn't get to experience that. But he's a tough kid. He's over there at Central, and yeah, he's gonna be better he's gonna be better next year for his growing pains. But this year's not over yet. You know what I mean? And he won't back down from anything. He like I'm sure you watched that game. He led Central right down the field to in a place to put in position to tie that game, but they came up short at the end.
Yeah, that was like very exciting. I was actually on the phone with somebody that was live there, and it's like 4 or 5 minutes behind on the computer.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to what's going on, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh man, this is kind of rough, because it's like I'm hearing what's going on, and then I can anticipate the next play. And I was like, wow. And then I'm seeing him run with the ball, and I'm seeing, the Hendricken guys coming at him for that 2-point conversion. And I'm like, just spin, juke, another, you're in there. And then I'm like, yeah, it sounds easy.
It sounds easy. I don't think I don't think he would have been able to cross, because they were right there. They were unfortunate, but at the same time, they also had that play covered. They rolled the dice, and Hendricken didn't bite on it. I think they were thinking Hendricken was going to bite on that bootleg, but they had the guy covered in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, so many exciting games. Some of West Warwick's games was very exciting. Mount Pleasant, another exciting team to go back and watch some of their film. Their offense, Jalen King. A lot of people say, where did he come from? Because he didn't play football the last couple of seasons, and now here he comes in his senior year, and he lights it up. And, I think I posted, what do you have, inside the top 5 for quarterback. So, but he played Hope High School. He went to I think Cube. That's Cube, one of the Providence alternative schools, and he was eligible to play sports at Hope. He played basketball instead, because not everybody wants to go out there and play for Hope. You've seen how Hope was playing the last couple of years.
Last couple of decades.
Yeah, and like
something's got to be done about that program. I really hope they turn it around.
That'll be another program that there'll be a job opening. I already heard about a couple low-key job openings that people don't know about yet. I know about them because they already told me, yo, I'm out of here. But we'll talk about that pretty soon. So yeah, Hope's going to be available, but the kid didn't want to play football at Hope, so he played basketball, and now he moves over to Mount Pleasant. The kid is Jalen King, playing phenomenal. I know he was up at UMass Dartmouth for a visit, but that's a secret. I ain't supposed to tell nobody that, so just keep that between us, Felix. I say, hey, if you want to keep it a secret, don't tell me. Don't tell me. There's a lot of stuff that people tell me that I don't talk about everything I find out. Because we could have like Dynasty football edition. You know what I mean? But Felix, another great one, man. Another great show. I'm so excited, man. Congratulations to everybody that had games. I know there was some soccer games going on today. Congratulations to that. Congratulations. Anything going on, Felix?
Nope. I'll be watching Springfield take on MIT this week. If Springfield can win that game, that'll set up pretty much a conference championship game against Catholic. So go Pride. By the way, number 2 rushing team in the nation right now.
Wow, congratulations. That's pretty good. Has the youngin got in yet?
Not yet. Nothing. I think he may have seen some special teams yet, but nothing yet. He's paying his dues. As a
Come
matter
on,
of fact,
Springfield. Now get him in there. I don't like. That's why I really like UMass because they they get their freshmen involved. Like
this
they
year,
do, man. Every year, like they really get their freshmen. Maybe they don't get them involved as much as you wanted them to, or as much as someone else want, but they get their freshmen involved.
I would say they're doing a better job this year. I was there I was at every game last year, and I was at games where they were up, at least 3 or 4 touchdowns, and still had kids not coming into the game, and I wasn't, not to knock it because I'm a big supporter of that.
No, you are a big UMass Dartmouth fan, but Ryan's gonna dispute this.
He can dispute it all he wants. A fact is a fact. You know what I mean? And there's but they hopefully they learned from that, and maybe they did. And because I do notice this year, because I still do watch their games. I take a look at their box scores. They're getting more kids in earlier in the games. You know what I mean? This year than they did last year.
But you can't really speak for the year before last year. You're only speaking from last year and this year.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair. But no, Felix is a big UMass fan because we've been talking about UMass a lot, and you pretty much stay in tune with UMass, and your son played for UMass.
Show love to our Rhode Island players, so you gotta love them.
33 of them, man. Like, yeah, definitely. Like, they gotta have. Pretty soon, they're gonna have the Rhode Island flag up there. You better watch out. You URI. Better watch out.
Right.
Who do you think wins? Play them this week. Who wins?
Oh God, URI.
You think so?
Yeah, URI. A couple of years ago, it might have been a question because URI was thinking it up, but they're actually playing pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, but look at statistically, like. Does URI have the stats that UMass has?
No, but they're not. They're also playing different competition. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Let's set it up. Let's set it up, man. Let's set it up. Set it up. That would be a nice fundraiser. I don't think the NCAA would go for it, but let's set it up.
Hey, you never know that Division III teams do play Division I teams. It does happen.
I think URI would be afraid just in case they lose. They would be.
They would have nothing to win in that situation. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. I think UMass would bust their ass.
I'd be rooting for them. That's for sure.
Rick Stanley's laughing. Set it up. Let's go. Shout out to my guy Stanley Dunbar, man. Doing big things. Big game tomorrow. That's what winning coaches do. They win. You know what I'm saying? This was a good show tonight, Felix. Bless you. Blessings to all. Salute to my man Jay, over there in Central Falls. Coach LaPierre is going to be retiring. Who gets that job? That's going to be interesting. I hope it's somebody that wants to coach football and not just looking for a damn retirement landing spot. Like, come on, man. All right, Felix, man. Thank you. Talk to you next week. Good luck to all the teams that are playing this weekend.
Yes, sir. God bless.
All right. Well, that's about it. Shout out to everybody. You see that little tag right there? You know what? I don't get monetized on none of this stuff, so help me out. Make a donation. Hook your boy up. You know what I'm saying? At least for my efforts and stuff. Rest in peace to Takeoff. I think that's pretty sad situation, man. Crazy stuff. But all right, we out. the best games all year.
No, it was great. We actually practiced.
It's federal. Switchy Frank. Let's go. Come take a ride through my city life.
You know, it's going to be, you're in a hole now. It's going to be hard to dig out of that hole. You know,
this is city living, mostly them city children. From my bedroom, see the lights of them city buildings. Ain't gotta act hard, private's my backyard. I run road out, you can call me a track star. And we a team, homie, all is one. I don't sleep until all is done. I ain't ruckus, so please don't call me Mr. 401. It's Mr. Rags, you can call me, I'm still in that 401. From where we was, look at all this come. For what it's worth, I put my all in the sun. Know that my city love it. I give about my city's budget, about my city's public, know how my city does
West Elmwood Intruders. There's a lot of guys that deserve opportunities, but for some reason the city is fumbling. They're fumbling. They're really fumbling. I mean, we can get into it, Mike. You know the story. I was at Juanita Sanchez.
I have to thank, you know, Coach Dino Campopiano and his staff over at Shea. If you come out freshman year, man, I tell my nephew, like, you know, we're building that foundation 7th, 8th grade, and we're on record in 9th grade. You know what I mean?
The game is over.